Dave Reese of Blue Rail Trains. Today I'm going to show you the Bachmann E-Z App wireless firmware update. If you've recently bought a Bachmann E-Z App, you may have heard this sound. This firmware update is going to make that go away. You need to have an internet connection in order to perform this update. Here's how it works. When you update the app to the latest version and power up your train, you may see a little exclamation point beside the name of your loco. This tells you that there is a new firmware available and it's ready to be installed on your loco. The update process takes a couple of minutes and you need to keep the train powered up and your smart device near the train until the update is done. So when you're ready, click the exclamation point. You'll get a little pop-up alert asking you to confirm and you hit OK. So now it's searching, connecting, and it's begun. So this progress bar down here shows you the updates taking place. You'll also hear some audio to make it sound like your locomotive is getting some upgrades, and it is. So what's happening here? So you know how every few weeks we've been updating the app? We've either added new sounds or made some fixes. Well, every once in a while we want to update the locomotive itself and give it new capabilities. This allows us to update the protocol and give your loco a new brain. Now, as I mentioned, one thing this upgrade does is make the motors operate silently and give you improved slow-speed operation. We accomplish this by changing the frequency the motors are being driven from 450 Hz, which is about a middle C on a piano, to 16 kHz, which only a dog could hear. This firmware update also makes substantial improvements to standard DC mode, so if there's anyone out there that runs these trains without a smartphone, you should get an improved experience. Now don't worry about damaging or messing up your train. As a result of the firmware update, your train always maintains a copy of the old firmware and just reverts back if anything goes wrong. So I'm going to fast forward here to where the update is done. Okay. That little ding meant the firmware update was successful. If the firmware update had failed, you get the sound of brakes squealing and the little exclamation point comes back. And if this happens, just try it again, but it should work. To confirm your loco has the latest firmware, go into your loco and hit the settings cog. And it should say firmware version 3.45 right down here. Alright, let's check out this new silent operation. If you want to see your loco take off at a slow speed step, instead of using the slider, just tap once any area just above the throttle. This will get your loco creeping at a slow speed. And if you drive slow like this, of course you'll want to have your track clean. And you just tap directly above to increase speed or below to bring it down. Here are a few other things we've recently added to the app. You'll notice an improvement in long horns and whistles. Those will now play nice and smooth. And also now you can choose between different horns from inside here. So if you just swipe it out a little further, you'll get a cog right here. And from there, you can pick different sounds. So that's the one we have now. That's sort of a modern diesel. You can get an early diesel, kind of a single chime. You can get kind of an Amtrak one if you want. So now if I go over here, that's my new horn on the train. You can also try out different bells. So we have, that's bell 1, bell 2, bell 3. I like bell 2, so I'm going to keep that one on there. For steam users, there are 3 whistles as well. Now, another thing we've added is the ability to control whether or not Auto Connect is turned on in your app. That's this feature right down here. So right now, I've got Auto Connect turned on. Now, if you just use one smart device to run trains in your basement, you want to leave Auto Connect turned on, which means whenever you power up your track, your smart device automatically connects to all trains. Now, if you go to a club or a group environment where other people might be running model trains, you're going to want to turn that off. This way you'll see a list of all Bluetooth trains and you hit the connect button. When you're done using a train and you want to make it available to someone else, you hit disconnect. So that about covers the firmware update. We've added a few under the hood improvements that are going to allow us to add some new functionality to the app. If there's anything you don't like about the app, wait 7 days, because that's the shortest amount of time it usually takes us to get an app update out. This is Dave Reese of Blue Rail Trains. Enjoy your Bachmann E-Z App firmware update.